Welcome to Unshrinkable, the podcast with a very catchy jingle and where we meet with some really inspiring women doing important work in the world. Get ready for powerful stories and practical tools to support you on your healing journey. I am your host, Emily Katz, and now let's dive into the episode with our next beautiful guest expert. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to introduce today's incredible guest, Joanna, a dreamwork professional, yoga nidra facilitator, and breath body mind practitioner, dedicated to helping people unlock the wisdom of their dreams and the power of deep rest. Joanna's work is rooted in the belief that dreams are more than just nightmare stories. They are profound messages offering insight, transformation, and a connection to our deeper selves. Through a unique blend of dream exploration, sound healing, and breath practices, she helps people access inner guidance, navigate life's transitions, and embrace rest as a radical act of self-care. I need some of this, Joanna. Okay, in our conversation, Joanna will share how dream work can be used for healing, decision-making, and self-discovery, as well as how practices like yoga nidra and breathwork can deepen our relationship with both rest and the subconscious mind. Her clients describe working with her as transformative, saying she has helped them decipher the hidden messages in their dreams, overcome recurring nightmares, and find clarity and empowerment in times of change. One client shared, Joanna's dream sessions opened a door to a magical world, one that helped me know myself, my fears, my beliefs, and even my future. So if you've ever been curious about what your dreams are trying to tell you or how rest can be a gateway to deeper self-awareness, this episode is for you. Awesome. Okay, so let's dive in. Hello, Joanna.
Hello. Thank you for this beautiful introduction.
Yay. I am so excited. I'm so excited for this episode because this is really like, not only do I love deciphering my own dreams, so I'm really into this stuff, but rest is something that I am actively like work in progress, but also many of my clients too. So this is, it's going to be really juicy. Okay. So please, will you introduce yourself now and more specifically how you got here doing what you do?
Yes. So I would say that dreams were always part of my life since I can remember. I had the ability to remember my dreams almost every night, or many dreams a night sometimes. But for a long time, I didn't do anything about that. So I didn't grow up in an environment that would encourage dream work. I come from a religious family where anything that doesn't come from a priest or someone else, it's like, no, let's not look into that, you know? So for a long time, when I was a child, when I was a teenager, I didn't really focus on my dreams. I didn't really do anything with my dreams because I just felt that there is nothing there. I was told there is nothing there. And only after, when I become a grown up, I realized that there are actually information and guidance, and wow, just those dreams, they become so vivid and so interesting. And I was like, no, like, wait a minute, there must be something there, because like, why would we have dreams if they meant nothing? Like, why would we as humans, like this perfect machine, not in the bad meaning of the word, like, why would we have dreams if they meant nothing? If we didn't need them, we would lose them in an evolution process. That's what I believe. So that's how my love for dreams and like uncovering that they are really actually powerful started.
I love that. I also like, we're conditioned to not really think about our dreams as anything relevant or important or worth noting, right? And then I found, I don't know if it was in my teens, I always have very vivid dreams, like super vivid. Some are really, really like, I'm like in there, like it's very, very realistic, and I remember them and many like dreams at night, throughout the night. And I think for me, it was more that like there were a few times where there was a profound insight in the dream, and it was super emotional, like really like, and I woke up and I was like, holy shit. And I kind of made the connection, and it just came, I think it was in my early 20s, probably early or mid 20s, where I really, like, I can't pinpoint one exact time. Maybe there's one that comes to mind, but I don't know if it's the earliest one, where I just really remembered, like, when I thought about it, when I woke up in the morning, I was like, what does that mean? Like, what is going on? What was that about? And then as I tried to like analyze it, just, I don't know, I guess intuitively, I was just trying to analyze it and make sense of it. I had a hugely profound insight that came from it. And since then, I think I've been far more like fascinated and intrigued and kind of into paying attention to what my dreams are, what's going on there. But
Yeah, so what you're saying actually happens to quite a lot of people from my experience. We just dismiss those moments. It's like, when you have intuition, a hunch about something, but you really don't understand how intuition maybe works or how your body works. So we dismiss it. You say like, yeah, it felt powerful, but like, what can I really do about it? Like, I don't know what to do with it. Like, does it really mean anything? It was just a dream. It's not real, and so on and so on. So we give ourselves like excuses why not to look deeper into it. Because I believe that every single person has at least one powerful, meaningful dream in their life. And even if you ask someone that say, no, I don't really remember my dreams, but when I was a child, I remember. So each one of us hold a dream like that. But
now I remember actually one that I had in childhood. I remember. Yeah, no, yes, sorry. Just suddenly it's
so
like
you
the
see?
one I thought of, I was in my early 20s or whatever, but there's actually I remember like I remember it's very clear to me there was a dream that I had and it was a bad dream when I was like 5, 6 years old, but it really stuck with me.
This is also what is happening here right now. It's just like magic of dreams, is that just the moment you start to talk about them, like people suddenly remember or have some realizations without even doing any like work, without diving deep. It's like, oh no, now that you ask, I remember something. So but answering your question, this is what I feel happens in our society, that we somehow lost this connection to our dream work. Like we used to, when you look through all the traditions and religions and cultures, you can see that dreams were present everywhere. You have mentions of dreams or prophetic dreams or something about dreams almost in every holy book in the world. So that means something. But as we disconnected from our intuition, as we disconnected from, like, we follow a bit different path of spirituality, I would say, but somehow this part became disregarded. So we lost this connection that we can have with our inner self through our dreams, or maybe with something beyond. Because what I always say is that for me, dream work, it's an amazing practice of self-empowerment. Because no matter what you believe that dreams are or dreams come from, whether you just think that it's emotional processing, or maybe you connecting to some higher power, or your intuition is speaking, like whatever it is that you believe that dreams are, as long as you believe that there is maybe a message for you, we can already work with that. So dream work for me is such a wonderful practice also that empowers and connects people, because no matter your religion, your background, your belief system, you can still work with dreams. Like, I won't be trying to change anything about your belief, only to maybe look deeper, and closer at your dreams and what they can mean to you, specific to you.
All right. So you're mentioning that you were very interested in dreams, but what got you to then become a dream worker? Like I'm interested in dreams, but it isn't something that I'm now specializing in. So how did you get into it?
Yeah, so I kind of like looked for my thing for a while. So I've tried like yoga, and I tried like different, modalities. And I was just like searching for this something, like I believe we all search for this thing that connects us, that bring us this feeling of being on the right path, this feeling of purpose. So I was looking through so many things, and kind of dreams were always there, but again, I was even disregarding them. But after I had some really powerful dreams that were really like, you could not understand them, not to understand what they meant. I was like, wait, maybe I should really go deeper into it. Like, I already doing it for myself. I already have a dream journal, and I'm just talking about dreams all the time, but maybe I want to share it with others. Maybe this is the path that I want to take. And yeah, so it was a process. It was a path when I started to like read more and learn more. And then I decided to go to study in the Institute for Dream Studies to like really learn, from big dreamers, to speak about dreams and about different, ways of seeing dreams and working with dreams and so on. And I was like, yeah, this is really sparks joy. That's really something that I truly believe. And it's so accessible to everyone. So I'm like, okay, so why is not everyone looking into their dreams? And I believe that's how it became kind of my mission, to connect people to their dreams, to make people understand that they have this incredible tool every night they go to sleep that they can take from. And yeah.
I love that. Love it. And so who is your typical client?
Actually, it's hard to say because the stories are always different. But I would say that I would maybe split them into two categories. People that have nightmares or some heavy dreams that they feel that, wow, I reached this point in my life that I must do something about it. Like they are just desperate and looking for help. And the other category would be people that are just really curious, that maybe they had a dream that sparked their interest. Maybe, there is some curiosity about the world of dreams. So they come to discover it. So if I had to categorize, that would be like the two main categories. So yeah.
Okay. And what does like a session look like?
Well, so of course, depending on the need and what kind of dream or what kind of problem related to dream a person brings, but usually it would start with a person sharing the dream in the way they feel comfortable, as many details as they feel comfortable, just like we are talking right now. And after that, we would kind of do sharing the dream again, but I would lead the person into a more meditative state, whether it's through some breath work, or maybe I would use some sounds or some guided visualization. So a person can enter a bit different state of consciousness and then to share the dream. And I would ask questions about maybe what's happening in the dream, or who is there in the dream, or maybe there is something that they haven't seen or felt before. And from there, it would kind of roll. So because every process is very different, right? For some people, it's very easy to drop into that space, and they go with the flow, so to speak. And other people, it's take them a little bit more time. But basically, it's sharing the dream and asking questions, and then see where it leads the person. Because I always say that dream is very personal. So I never assume anything about any dream, any symbol, anything. There are some certain, I would say, archetypes, or they are certain symbols that may have some collective meaning. But in general, dreams are very personal. So I always listen what the person has to say, what it means, what every single thing means to them. And only basing on that, we can maybe reach some realizations. But again, that's why I call myself more like a dream guide, because I don't tell anyone what the dream means. That's not my thing. But I do guide people to reach this place of realization, of insight, or maybe aha moment through questions, through meditation, and so on. Exercises that you can do with the dream, like you can do journaling and writing, and you can do art. Like there's really, like, the possibilities are endless.
I recently found one of my old diaries from when I was 15, and I haven't read it in like 20 years, I think. And at the back was a picture that I drawn, and it reminded me instantly of a recurring nightmare that I had. I would always see this person's face, like just like kind of jump out of nowhere, and I would wake up like, like it would be very scary face. And I'd drawn the picture of the person from the dream, and I was just like, huh. Like because I didn't talk about the dream in the diary, but at the back I saw the picture and I was like, that really looks like the person I used to dream. And I think it was probably around the similar time. So I think I used to also draw things occasionally, but the main, I can say, like, I never journaled. I think I might have tried to do some dream journaling at some point. But for me, what I find has been really helpful, and this is just, I think we talked about this in our pre-interview, but is focusing less on the symbols or the kind of the people and the things, but more on the feelings that are evoked in the dream, right? So for example, that like this face that would always jump in, like it would really cause like unsafety, like panic, like threat, right? And I think at the time I did feel very unsafe and unprotected and threatened. And so I think that was like, I find that sometimes it's just communicating or reflecting an area in our life that is bothering us or that is, concerning us or that maybe needs addressing in a way. I think when I'm trying to think as well about and other dreams that I've had with specific emotions, like let's say, okay, so there was there were these dreams that I used to have that when like I'd be in a fight scene, but
Yeah.
I couldn't punch. Like I would go like this and then I would stop. Like it would like I couldn't like it wouldn't land. It would never, like I would really try to fight back and I just it was like there was an invisible wall, just like it would stop me and I would be so frustrated. Like so frustrated that I couldn't protect myself, right? That I couldn't fight back. And I think symbolically, it's pretty obvious. I was actually pretty, frustrated that I couldn't stand up for myself or fight back or protect myself or whatever, or be protected even. And so that was pretty like straightforward.
Yeah.
But I remember having those dreams of like not being able to and that frustration. And so it was and then I remember, well, more recently, I think like in the last like 5, 10 years, when I've been doing a lot of self-healing work, I've been like ninja mode in fight scenes. When I have a dream and there's a fight scene, I am like letting it rip. I'm beating the crap out of whoever it is that's trying to attack me and whoever it is. So that's been resolved.
Yeah, that
Whatever
seems
that
like it's
was.
been definitely, it feels like it's been resolved. And also, that's why when I work with someone, I always ask them, like, if you have a recurring dream, did something change? Or did you have like a series of dream? And is there any change? Are they, changing over time? Because as you said, many times we have repeating dreams that we just don't, we think we are stuck in the same, maybe pattern. But if we follow the dreams, if we journal, or at least we remember them, we can say, oh, wow, something shifted. And many times, interesting, we see the change in the dream before we see it in the real life. So it's kind of like you work on something, through something, you struggle with something, trying to overcome. And in the waking life, you feel like there's no progress. But many times, if you are following up with your dreams, you see shifts in the dreams. And for me, that's always a sign that shift is coming. It's not in my waking life yet, but it's already happening in my dream life. So from my experience, I see that really happening. So that's why the dreams can be very encouraging sometimes, because you may feel like in your waking life, wow, it's just really not going anywhere. But yet you see something changing in your dream life. So that's one way of, getting encouragement from your dreams. And what you mentioned before about, having this recurring dream of trying to fight and not being able to. So you are really connected to yourself, and you connected the dots very fast. But for many people, that would be, for example, if someone came with a dream like that to me and they said like, yeah, I have this dream that I'm trying to fight, but I am not a violent person and I never tried to hit anyone really. And, so they kind of come from this like defensive immediately. And then when I say like, listen, many times and quite often, most of the times, it's actually a metaphor. And then I would ask, okay, but is there area in your life that you feel like you need to fight and you can't? And many, many times again, the first answer is no, 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 no. But then it's like, maybe I change the way I ask. And then suddenly like, yeah, maybe at my work, I've been feeling that, my boss is not listening to me and I just don't know how to act. And this is exactly this thing, this is maybe the small realization. And many times also showing that something that maybe we minimize in the waking life, like we say like, yeah, my boss is like that, but I don't really care. But it keeps coming in the dream. So maybe it is an issue. So yeah, exactly.
Very true. I kind of take it for granted that I'm quite intuitive myself and I just like, and I'm well versed in it because I do it for myself, but it's very, very true. And I think that we really, I actually wonder whether our dreams help us, like they're trying to help us by communicating things like, pay attention to this. Like you're not paying attention, like you're just letting this slide on the rug, but this really bugs you, and so it will come through in the dream.
And if you're not listening, it comes as a nightmare, because this is what I always say, that nightmares are just very, very loud dreams. And I believe that our psyche doesn't want to, terrorize us with nightmares. But if we are dismissing something, repressing something, not being able or willing to deal with something, it eventually comes as a nightmare. So first you might have dream, that you're just running away from something and you have heavy legs. This is also like super common theme, that you're trying to run, but your legs are heavy. So if you don't look into it, maybe next time, not only you cannot run, there's also like a monster or someone comes, and harm you physically and so on. So with working with nightmares, because this is also like very sensitive, obviously, subject, and it can be very, very scary and hard for people to open up about the nightmares, to don't even like want to share the nightmare, because it's like the first instinct is like, oh, I just want to forget. I had a nightmare. I don't want to talk about it with anyone. Like, why would I relieve the nightmare? But that's the thing. Like, if you don't, usually it just gets worse and worse over time, because it's something that, we're having difficulties to deal with.
I really do feel that our system is also, you mentioned perfectly designed, right? Like our system is designed to communicate with. It's like, even when we have symptoms, like mental health symptoms, it's my kind of domain, right?
Yeah.
It's your body's trying to, like, if you're not going to listen, it's going to shout. It's going to get louder and louder and louder. And it, if you can't suppress your symptoms, well, you can, but then you'll explode, like, or implode, or like it will manifest in some other way. It'll start manifesting physically, and you'll start getting sick. And, I
Exactly.
really do believe that. And so you mentioned you started talking about nightmares, and I feel compelled for some reason to share this, because
All right.
I don't even want to say it out loud, because it's, but it was something bad happened to one of my kids in my dream, and Jesus, it was like I woke up and like, no, 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 like I don't even think about it, like get it out of my head, like no, 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 it was really, I did not want to think about it. And I feel that maybe sometimes as well, I had to remind myself, like, it's not a premonition. Like, I don't feel that it's a premonition. Like, don't it? No. Let's just think about this as like it's a metaphor for something, as opposed to something that's actually going to happen to my kid. God forbid. Touch wood, right? Like, but I really freaked out for a while because it was so vivid. It was so real, and I got so scared. But then I was like trying to analyze it for myself and be like, okay, so what was the feeling? And there was like worst case scenario, and or panic, or like I think it was more about like fear, just really, really fear, but tied in. When I think about parenting and motherhood, I would think about responsibility. Like, I take it really seriously, the
Yeah.
responsibility. And I've always had, I'm a former alcoholic, so I have a problem with taking I had a problem with taking responsibility. And so kids is like, it's a big thing, right? And getting it right. And a lot of, like mother wounds, and not wanting to make a mistake and get things wrong. And so I was thinking, like, it has to be tied into something, like, and so I was trying to connect the dots and figure it out. But it was, I'm pretty sure that many people have nightmares and just kind of take it at face value, and get
Exactly.
really shit scared.
Yeah. So you touched on several important points, but the most important one is that because we lack, I call it dream education, nightmare education, this is exactly what happened. People don't understand that most of the times dream speaks through metaphors. Okay. So only understanding that, when I work with someone that suffered from nightmares, only explain to the person, like really, truly, deeply explain that most of the time it's a metaphor of something, unless it's like post-traumatic nightmare, that you're just reliving something traumatic that happened
Like
to you.
a
That's a
flashback.
different that's a different category of nightmare. But if we talk about nightmares, like you just shared, so even to understand that, okay, it was a metaphor or something, like 99.9%, it's not premonition, it's a metaphor. That's already takes such a heaviness, such a fear from you. And then
to remind myself, I'm like, this isn't going to happen. This isn't, like, it's actually a metaphor.
exactly. And it may be related to, really, as you said, to something that's related to, motherhood responsibility and stuff like that. It could also be related to your inner child, something about your inner child, something about what this child of yours represent. Like, if you were to give quality, to this child, to describe it in one word, maybe there is something that you are afraid of losing, this specific thing, this specific quality, a feeling, something. So there are many ways of looking at dreams. You can look at the dreams literally, which I say most of the cases, dreams are not really speaking, literally. There is part of seeing the metaphor, and there is part of seeing that there's a way that we can see dreams as everything in the dream is part of us. So what does it mean to me? Like you said, you are very intuitive, so you really could self-soothe yourself, but for most of the people it's not possible. And then we hide the nightmares and we don't want to think about them, and it just grows, like you said, like physical symptoms. Like first it's a bit of back pain, and then it's like your hernia. It's the same with our mental health. It's the same with our
avoiding sleep, right? And
exactly. It's one of the worst thing that can happen when someone has nightmares is that they just don't want to go to sleep, and then insomnia, and then it causes other problems. So that's why I say, like, even understanding some basics about dreams, about dream work, again, you can keep your beliefs, really just listen me out and see how it can really help you, because yeah, we can avoid so much unnecessary fear or anxiety.
I think before, because I want to go into like the rest in bit
Yes.
as well, right? But I think that this is such I believe, an important point, because a lot of my clients do struggle with bad dreams, right? And sleep and things like this. And so it's all connected. But I do feel as well that there's an analogy that I use with many of my clients, and I've probably said this before on previous episodes, but symptoms, like in general, we really resist them and we're scared of them. We just want to suppress them, right? But the analogy that I use is that, like, imagine someone's running at you in a foreign language, just like screaming, and you're like, this crazy, but like, what, like, I don't know what what this person wants from me. So you just panic and you're like, call the police, get this crazy person away from me, right? And so it's like, we just call the doctor, like, get rid of the symptom. Like, I don't know what this is, like, just, I don't want this, And I feel that when we instead reframe it and say the symptoms are coming to you screaming or whatever, like, the louder it is, the more you need to actually pay attention. And so if you shift the way you approach your symptom and say, let me learn your language, let me see how I can help, because at the end of the day, it's coming at you just because it needs you, it needs your help, it needs your attention, right? And I feel that, like, with nightmares and with bad dreams, it's the same thing. If we can shift the way we perceive it and we shift the way we approach it, and instead get more curious and be like, okay, I'm not going to be scared of you. I'm going to actually try and see what it is that you're trying to tell me, because at the end of the day, your system's working for you, not against you. But we really feel it's working against us, right? Sometimes. So
exactly. That's what I really believe. And also with that comes that when we look into our dreams, when we do dedicate some time to look into our dreams, to maybe journal our dreams, to talk about our dreams, even, like, we really start to recognize them, recognize the patterns, and learn the language. And as you said, it's like with foreign language, like at the beginning you have no idea what it means, and you might get scared of because of you just don't understand. So it's the same with the dreams. And then it's so much easier to see if, oh, this dream, for sure, it was just metaphor and it's just something about my inner self. And there will be dreams that you may say, like, hey, I dreamt of this person, and maybe I'm just going to check on this person. Are they okay? Because you see the differences in the dreams itself. And so when people ask me, like, but how do I know if the dream was important? How do I know if the dream was about another person? How do I know if maybe it was precognitive dream? Because I do believe that many of us have precognitive dreams. It's not everyone, but we just don't look into them. So I say the only way to really know is, first of all, you trust into yourself, into your intuition, and you follow up with your dreams, and then you see those differences. It's like when you have a headache and you think, oh, why I have a headache? But then you learn that usually you have headaches when you are too much on your screen, or you just have too many intrusive thoughts, and then you know exactly what kind of headache you have and why. So it's the same with the dreams.
Oh my God. Now that I'm like, I want to move on to the rest piece, I have so many dream questions that I want to okay, hold on. A few more things about dreams before we move on to the rest piece. But okay, so I have regular dreams, not bad ones, just regularly, about, like, choosing clothes. Like, I'm at the shop and I'm trying to find an outfit, or I'm getting dressed for something and I'm finding an outfit, or I'm like, really, you're not that into fashion. Like, I always liked clothes and stuff, but I wonder that it's more to do with identity, I think.
Yeah.
For me, it's I feel that, when I've been thinking about it, I'm like, what is it with clothes, man? Like, why am I always like choosing? And then, like, let's say I'm like, oh yeah, I'm looking and I'm looking and I really want to find the right thing, you know, and I'm thinking about the emotions. Like I'm looking for something that's going to feel like, ah, that's what I want to wear. And then I wake up and then I'm like, oh no, I want to go back to sleep and find it. I want to find the thing, you know, and I'm thinking like, what the hell is, and I was like, I think it's to do with identity, right? So it's like, and it's a theme that's coming up and I'm doing a lot of work around identity with myself and my clients. Like it's a big theme. And I feel like it's been a few years coming kind of thing, you know? Um, but
Yeah.
that
That
would make sense, right? Clothes and
Yes, that
identity.
totally makes sense. And you
Okay.
said this sentence. So what I also do in the sessions, it's sometimes I hear a sentence that really rings a bell for me, but when we speak, we don't always hear it.
Mhm.
But when someone else, is holding the space for us, they can reflect on us. So you said, like, I'm looking for the right thing.
Yes.
And now taking it out of the context of clothes, like
It could be purpose. It could be
what is that you are looking and looking and looking for? What is this right thing
striving.
that you are looking for, right?
I
So
love
even
that.
if we take this sentence out of the whole dream, because
Because
you
that's the emotional bit,
yeah,
right?
because
That's like
I'm
the,
looking and looking and looking for the right thing, and not even only that, you are wanting to go back to sleep to continue
yeah.
looking for
I'm
it. So
so
it's something very
excited. I'm like, what is
important.
it? Like, I want to see what
So
it is.
if it were my dream, I would be
Pause. Yes, I am interrupting. I'm sorry. But if you're enjoying this episode, you can prove it by liking and subscribing. And also, please share it with a friend who's into all things healing. It will be a huge, awesome support for us. So, yeah, go do that. Okay, cool. Back to the show. Thank you. Love you.
like, okay, I would write it down and I would be like, do just even like freestyle writing, like, okay, what is that I'm looking for? And just start to write whatever comes to my mind, okay, I'm looking for perfect house. I'm looking for, I don't know, rebranding. Doesn't.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
So that's about this sentence that really it stood out to me. But the thing with the clothes itself, yeah, it's like when we dream about clothing, it's how we show ourselves to the world most of the times. So it's like, what am I trying to show?
Self-expression.
Self-expression, like how I want to look to myself and also to others, right? And maybe question like, am I dressing, like in the waking life, am I dressing for myself or I'm dressing for others,
Could also be self-perception. Like, how do I see myself? I'm trying to find the thing that feels like me, and it's also like alignment and
Exactly.
so many things.
So it's like every dream is like a rabbit hole. You can continue digging and digging, but yes, but no matter, again, the medium that you choose to do it, maybe it will be drawing or someone will write a song about it and someone will just have a conversation, or we will do meditation and I will invite you to enter this beautiful store when you have all these clothes and like what color you feel drawn to, like what part, because is it a coat, is it the pants, is it the shoes, every single thing could go like it's like a branches of a tree, right? It just you can go in many direction. But in general, yes, sometimes 2-3 questions that you can ask yourself about your dream, it can be so revealing. So revealing.
I love that. Oh, this is so cool. Okay. And then there was a dream that I told you about in our pre-interview, and we said we might bring it up. So I will bring it up because I feel that it might be you said it could be a common one, but a relevant one for people to think as well. And I'm open book, as we all know. So I had a recurring dream for many, many years about not being able to go to the toilet, meaning I really need the number two, and I am, and it's all going fine like until now. Like I'm just, for some reason, somewhere in the dream, I need the toilet, and I'm going into a cubicle, let's say, and then suddenly, like I'll close the door, and then boom, like the walls will all turn to windows, and then everyone can see me. And so I can't go. Like I can't go. Like I'm not going to publicly like go, right? Or there's no cubicle and I'm looking for a cubicle and I can't find it and I can't find it. And very often it is to do with like public, like people being able to see me. So there was one I remember, I was in like a food hall, like a dining hall. And so there was just a toilet at a table. And I just had to sit at the table. I'm just like, I can't do this. Like everyone's like around. And then there was another one I remember where I went out I was in a house and I went like in an apartment and I went to the toilet, and then the toilet itself had like all the walls went away and I was outside like in a in a like skyscraper kind of building, and all the other buildings were there looking at me, and I'm on this tiny little platform with a toilet. And I'm just like, oh shit, like outside, way up high in the sky, like nowhere to go, and everyone's looking.
Yeah.
So I had loads of these dreams, like various different scenarios and situations. I can give you like loads more examples, but very exposed and vulnerable, I think, probably there. And what other kind of emotions were there? I think just it was mainly the feeling of I can't do this. Like I
Yeah.
can't do this right now if everyone's seeing me.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all,
Visibility.
you can see how our dreams have a lot of sense of humor. I always say that because the stories that they are being created in our dreams sometimes are like,
Very
wow,
creative. Very
yeah, like
creative.
where all the skyscrapers and you sitting there, hilarious. But it is true that there are dreams that continue, coming back in a different scenarios, but the actual feeling is the same. And so this is what I always say, and this is what you mentioned at the beginning, is that what was the feeling? And you mapped it perfectly. You said exposed, vulnerable, maybe some sort of like not able to do something that you need to do. And the dreams of going to the toilet are actually very common, but also they're still kind of like a taboo. Like you want to tell your friend that you dream of toilets, of poo or whatever, like maybe not everyone feels comfortable. But actually, it's like when we dream of going to the toilet, it's like there is a natural need to release, to let go, to let out of the shit out, right? Like we need to do it. And many times when we have this kind of dreams, and it can relate to many areas of your life, but it's like, are you able to also let the stinky stuff out? Like maybe there is no like supportive surrounding that you feel like you can do it.
Expressing the things that need to get out and
Exactly, but maybe those are not the beautiful things, maybe this is not all the best qualities of Emily. Maybe those are some other qualities, could be, that you don't feel comfortable showing to others. Perhaps, it could be also something that's been processing and digesting, and it needs to come out, and it can't.
I think there was some, because I did then start having dreams where I'm just letting rip in public, and then I woke up.
There you
Yes,
go.
you fucking
You
did
see?
it, And so I had the breakthrough, but I do feel that it was like there was something about judgment and about like being seen, and then what, like the humiliation. Like there was something there around, I don't want to be humiliated, or I don't want people to judge me and think of me certain ways, or blah, 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 blah. And then the idea of literally just like popping a squat and going for it with people around you, it's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I genuinely don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do my thing. I got to do what I'm going to do. And I don't care what anyone thinks or says, or like how that will make me, but like it's very much just owning your shit, right?
Exactly.
And I think that for me, it was probably like the emotions, exposure and vulnerability and blah, 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 but I think it was about judgment. I have a feeling it was to do with that, because afterwards I was very much about like, I don't care what people think anymore. Like I don't care what anyone's going to think. I'm just going to do it.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so it, for every person, even the same dream can have completely different meaning, because maybe, as you said, for you it was about the judgment. For someone else it would be maybe about privacy. I don't have privacy in my life. I cannot do my private stuff alone when nobody is looking, or it's like I feel stuck, like I have something that needs to come out and it doesn't come out. So that's why I always say that there's no one meaning to a symbol, no one meaning, even though, like we see the common thing that happened, there is a theme, but depending on the person or their circumstances, what they tell me about their life, about their situation, about their work, about their home life, they will find their own, the exact meaning of it. Yeah. And that's why I say, do not use dream dictionaries. I mean, dream dictionaries are like, they just generalize. So I'm not a big fan of generalizing anything in life. Okay, I believe that we are all so unique and so different, that generalizing things, also dream symbols, is like harmful, because maybe you would open it and it says that going to toilet means only the fear of exposure, and why would you stop there?
But that's what I'm saying. I like the idea that I like the fact that you also use meditation and meditative techniques, because I feel that would be able to also stop someone from like putting their own ideas or perceptions on it, and you just kind of literally have free range to like what's going on, as opposed to, because I feel like some people might pick out the pieces to share or tell you,
Yes.
and then it's like, so how do you know what to ask or how to, dig deeper? And so with the meditation, I can imagine that it's a little bit more open. They're not already putting their own kind of interpretations on it.
Well, I think this is like, not a problem, but this is a thing for every therapy, every coaching, every sort of modality. Eventually, person can share as much as they want, the way they want. There's always bias, and there's always stuff we hide. But yeah, that's when, for example, like practice like yoga nidra, that it's like deep meditation, or any kind of practice that it's trying to connect more to your subconscious rather than your conscious mind, can be so beneficial. Because if this is exactly what I do, is that first we talk about the dream and I get all the information I can get. But then I ask to retell the dream from different state of being, because many different things can arise. Someone can say a word that will be a key, that they didn't use this certain word, as you said. There are also realization that the person doesn't need to share with me. I always leave some time for, it's like, maybe there's something came up that they don't want to share with me, but they did get the answer. So all the work that I do with the deep rest practices and with the sound healing and with breath work is just for that, because our minds are amazing and we can get so many things solved and fixed and so on. But there are limitations, because there's always our subconscious mind where our fears or desires or thoughts exist that we are not even aware of them. So if we look into our dreams, we can see those things that we are not aware of. For example, some desires that we have that we are repressing, that we don't even know that we want something very much, but if we can see this coming up in the dream. Mm-hmm. And also because sometimes it's very hard to work through things only using a logic, it's because then you only like work on the conscious level, but there is the whole subconscious that stay untouched. And I'm sure that you are well aware in your work as well, that most of the shit talking about it's there. So yeah.
And I mean, it feels like a perfect segue into these other modalities that you refer to, but I did have one last question about dreams. Occasionally I see a deceased relative and I have an interaction with with my grandma or my father-in-law or someone, intuitively, whether it's right or wrong, I kind of feel like it's them visiting and saying hi, or just sharing something. Or even if it's, I mean, I think the last one I had, I think, was with my father-in-law, and he just looked so calm and at peace and happy, and he was like really well dressed and all kind of shaven and this and that and like done up. And I think I just felt like when I woke up, I was just like, oh, like he looks good. He looks okay. Like he's, and I feel like maybe that's the message that he was wanting to give. And this is very out there for me to be even saying, because I'm a former skeptic,
right?
With anything and everything spiritual and woo. So for me, this is all very new kind of stuff that I'm still like, am I really saying this out loud?
First of all, it's good to be skeptic. That's how we learn also. And that's when, science can be super useful. There is something called visitation dreams, and there are actually books about it. And there is also some research that looks into those kind of dreams that people claim that they feel that they met with a departed person, right? And again, we can always look at it that maybe this is just a representation of yourself. True, but there are dreams that feel really different. And then again, circling back to what I said before, that if you look into your dreams, you will know that this dream, it felt different, right? So visitation dreams are dreams that many believe that they're like, we can have a contact with people that are no longer here, with the spirit, soul. And there are instances where it was shared that a person in the dream gave some sort of information or advice or something that was not accessible or known in any other way, and only the deceased person, for example, knew. Like there is this story about this guy being visited by his departed grandfather, that tells him that in his jacket there is some letter that needs to be found in the inner pocket of the jacket. now he calls the grandma and he goes to the house and they look for the jacket, and yeah, they found the letter in this pocket. Nobody knew about it. Like grandma didn't know about it. Nobody knew about it. So there are stories like that. There are quite many that they show that, yeah, the information we received, like it was not known to anyone else, for example. So yeah, I personally believe, again, it's personal, but I do believe that we can have visitation dreams and connect with the beyond through our dreams. And it's very special. And
So
can be very...
I'm believing more and more too, and there's the whole field of parapsychology, which I'm very, like reading up about a lot and getting interested in, and I'm seeing how many cases are really coming forward, and they're really trying to, like, they're really studying all this stuff now, researching it, and so I'm more and more and more open-minded to all of this stuff, but also like as firsthand experience of, like having a chat with my grandpa saying like, can you see my kids? Look, there's this, like, and he's like, yes. And it's like, so that I wake up, I'm like, oh, he came to see my kids and I made sure that he saw them, and that, like, and it's like these little things that then, whether right or wrong, they make me feel better.
Exactly. And you just said what I
But I don't
wanted
really
to say,
care. I
is
don't care
that...
if it's like true or not true. For me, it feels like it did
Exactly.
something,
And this is what I always say as well, that okay, so maybe we look for explanation, or is it true or it's not true? Is it real or is it not real? But like, how does it make you feel? Like, if it makes you feel good, if you walk up with some piece of calm, with some beautiful feeling, so who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? It was really grandma, or it was just a metaphor, or it was whatever it was,
See more judgment
For
stuff.
me, exactly, the judgment's coming up. But something that what you are sharing, it's so common, right?
Yeah.
So, but I always say, so who cares?
I like it. Okay, and so you mentioned Yoga Nidra. I think we could probably do a whole episode on Yoga Nidra. I'm interested, if you can, just give it a little sentence of what that is, and then deep rest.
Yes. So Yoga Nidra is the deep rest.
Okay, good.
Yoga Nidra, if I translated it to English, is like a practice of sleep meditation or deep rest meditation. People, when they hear Yoga Nidra, they imagine asana, the postures, the exercise, but actually it's a very ancient practice that help us drop into those state of consciousness, into this world a little bit between awake and asleep. I believe there are actually many states of awareness. Like we see ourselves or life like, okay, I'm awake or I'm asleep and dreaming, but actually I believe there are like many steps. We are just not familiar with them. We don't pay attention to them, but many people do recognize this place where you are before, like you are almost falling asleep, but you kind of still can hear, the dog barking, but you also know that you are already start to see a dream. So this is called like this is this liminal space, right? This is the space in between being awake and asleep. And it's being researched and proven that this place, this liminal place in between being awake and asleep, it's a very interesting space to be, because we become very like it's an amazing place for inner work and receiving some insights, because our logical mind is almost asleep but still working a little bit, but the other leg is already in the dream world, so we can suddenly have some realization, we can see some stuff, we can suddenly feel things that we maybe are repressing or blocking. So Yoga Nidra help us to enter this state and see what happened, what arises. So we connect to our body. Like it's the most luxurious and nice practice ever, because you just lie down under the blanket on a mattress, and I guide you through a breath work and some grounding and connecting to your senses. And then we go into some guided meditation and so on and so on. And the whole idea of this practice is that, first of all, we let our body really rest by connecting to it and by just stopping all the doing, right? But the second part is that in this space, in this liminal space, you can really have an incredible insights that maybe, you're not able to have when you are on this, beta wave, brainwaves all the time. Yeah.
Very cool. With the deep rest as well, and just rest in general, I feel like so many of us miss out on sleep and rest, and then I feel we also don't then get the benefits of it, and not only with dreams, but allowing our system to also process. Like, I think, is it right that a lot of our dream time is also the system kind of processing and some like doing its thing, like just like our body regenerates and works really hard at night. I feel like our subconscious does some stuff too, and the
Yes.
emotions and everything. And I really do. I just wanted to like reiterate the importance of sleep and rest. But
Yes, exactly what you're saying. Like we kind of riding this way of like, oh, I will sleep when I'm dead, or like
yeah,
sleep is
like a
for
waste of time.
losers.
I've got things
Like,
to do.
but this is exactly what you're saying. This is like very one short, like one way of seeing things, like the doing. But as you said, like we need to sleep not only for our organs to regenerate and our cells, and so many processes happen when we are asleep in our bodies, they also happen in our mind, right? So as you said, it's like a lot of emotional processing, it's like consolidating memories, it's so many things happen when we are asleep, that, as you said, when we deprive ourselves of sleep, of dreaming, when we don't sleep enough, we don't dream, we don't enter the REM state of sleep, and then this processing doesn't happen. So you are just like walking zombie, you are exhausted, you are overwhelmed, maybe you become, super angry or irritated, or like, because what happened with when people don't sleep, like the worst comes out of people when they are tired, and it's because we don't have the opportunity to regenerate both our physical bodies, but also our mental bodies, our souls and everything. When we don't make space for that, and we just ride this way of doing, then we are depriving ourselves of this healing that happened when we just go to sleep. It just happens, whether you remember your dreams, you don't remember your dreams, like it doesn't matter, because it still happens. So you still process and you still dream, you just don't remember, but it happens. But if you don't sleep, it doesn't happen.
And what does it mean if you don't remember? Like, does that mean anything, or is it?
So there's only very, very, very tiny percent of population of people that, for some medical reasons, they really cannot remember their dreams, or they really don't dream. Okay, like very tiny, something with maybe brain injuries or stuff, like some certain diseases. But most of us just don't remember because we don't pay attention to it, because we are so overwhelmed. Like the modern life is so overwhelming that it's like, wow, our minds are like, okay, I have so many thoughts and I have so many things to deal with, so I'm just not going to add to it remembering my dreams, because I'm already so overwhelmed and I don't understand why would I do that. So that's what I always say, that because we don't understand the benefits that can come from looking into our dreams, we don't remember them, because it's like it's pointless. So mostly it's the lack of interest and awareness of why it matters. That's why we don't remember our dreams.
I feel as well like I'm someone who's very ambitious and driven and go, 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 go. And I have a lot of energy. Like if you know human design, all my centers are defined. I've got like I have a lot of energy.
Are you a generator?
I'm a manifesting generator,
Oh, yeah.
6-3, but everything's defined. So I'm like, I have, and like I can energize myself in any like I've got all the energy, but I feel that like for me, for example, this year, 2025, my word was slow, which is kind of counterintuitive for me in a way, because I'm all about like, but I want to go and I want more and I want this and I was like, you got to slow. Like slow is the word for you, because then you're confronted with the go, 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 like the duality of it. But I really want to slow things down and simplify and kind of step into a new way of being and doing things, because well, I just feel that that's the right thing. But intuitive, I guess, as well. But I do find that people, a lot of my clients, I keep saying this, I find myself saying this again and again as well, is how productive rest is.
Yes.
And we're very conditioned, socially conditioned, to be like, our worth is conditional upon how productive we are a lot of the time, right? So it's like, if I don't do all of this, and if I don't do, and if I don't do that, then I won't be good enough, and I won't be good enough for me, and I'll be judging myself like, I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, And it's like, are you noticing how much you are actually already doing? But also, if you don't rest, it's going to be really hard to function and at your best and showing up at your best to then do all the things that you want to do,
Yeah.
And so I feel that it really is, it feels counterintuitive, but resting is actually one of the most productive things that we can do when with this type of person, right? But also I find that with many, because I focus a lot on mental health, obviously, then some of them aren't as productive, like traditional productive, like they really struggle, even if it's just to like get up and shower and do the day, And I'm like, well, what other things are you doing? You're navigating all of the traumas and all of the memories and all of the things and all of the emotions and all the dysregulation. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff you're actually doing under the surface. And that you really need to let that happen and hold space for
Yes.
that. It's not necessarily just productive on the outside, but also on the inside. And I feel that tied into all of this is this idea of deep rest and meditation and mindfulness and dreams and like the subconscious and accessing it and aware, like, you know, improving your or increasing your awareness of all these things. I really feel that that is where a lot of growth happens, a lot of healing happens, a lot of up leveling happens. You know, I've been looking into how to develop psychic abilities and intuitive abilities and all these things, and they all talk about meditate more, deeper, you know,
Yeah.
like slow down, like really just take time out of your day to just be. And a lot of the work that I do with my clients is just let's focus on presence, on awareness, on observing instead of just like a lot of it is about this kind of connection to self on a very kind of resting space, you
Yeah.
know, and very much allowing what needs to come through, like with dreams and like with your subconscious and like with your symptoms and like, you know, so it's paying attention to what is already trying to be, you know, like it's trying to communicate with you, your system, right? So
Exactly.
oh,
And
yeah.
I truly believe that we can't really heal when we are so exhausted. Like the healing is not easily accessible, any kind of healing, when you are so exhausted, when you like run on empty. Because from my experience, like I used to work in high tech and I was very busy person. And yeah, I was struggling with certain things and I didn't understand why nothing was working, like why I couldn't get better, why I couldn't overcome some obstacles or change some habits or like implement new better habits, like wherever it was, trying different modalities. And only when I really started my yoga nidra practice and I let myself like practice yoga nidra for days and days and days, I said, wow, I didn't even understand how exhausted I was. And I didn't even have power for any healing. How can I even have power to heal if I'm so exhausted? And I was feeling so down and thinking like, yeah, I don't have strength anymore. I don't have motivation. I don't have like ideas, you know, like, but all of that started to come back to me when I really let myself to rest, when I really dove deep into yoga nidra practice. And I said like, wow, okay, energy is coming back and ideas are coming back. And I started to see myself in a better light. And then I could do the rest of the work. But I couldn't do it before because it was like, you try to get better, but the only thing you do is try to push more. But you're already pushing so much in life. We push and pull all the time, you know, work and family and children and wars and like whatnot, right? So that's why it's so basic.
I really, really say that we're so dysregulated that we don't even have a chance. Like I remember I was trying to really work on my own like eating habits and I'm like,
Yeah.
but I'm sleep deprived. I've got kids. I'm sleeping like 4 or 5 hours a night of interrupted sleep. How am I ever going to like change a habit? Like I'm looking for comfort. I'm looking for self-soothing. I'm looking for
Yes.
regulation.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm going to go to the patterns and the habits that I'm familiar with because that's safe to my psyche. So I'm not going to be able to change anything because that will feel unsafe to my psyche. And change really does. I work about change, right? Like that's my
Yes.
work. And so I
Yes.
really focus on this is like my specialty. And the idea is that we're not going to be able to change anything and kind of we're going to resist change if we're not feeling safe enough to then start to step out of that comfort zone a little bit because we need the comfort zone if we're feeling dysregulated.
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
and rest is really going to help us regulate, right? Like whether it's breath work, whether it's sleep, whether it's whatever it is, you know, it's really, really important to create the safety to then kind of work from there.
Exactly. And also get clarity, because this is what I always say, that both yoga nidra and dream work, they really can bring you clarity. Because when we look at, let's say, oh, I have a problem, I have problem with my boss, I have career, whatever it is, and you try to only solve it from the waking state, from the logical mind. Like you may be spending months on trying to find solution, on trying to make decision, but when you drop into those spaces, those liminal spaces, whether it's like you try to communicate with your dreams or see what your dreams are trying to tell you, or you go into deep rest or meditation practice, suddenly those answers, they can arise like that. And not only the answer arise, there is also feeling that it's the right thing to do. So especially for people that, you know, are very they hesitate, they are not sure, they are fear of making decisions. Because when it only comes from mind and it's not connected to the body and to the rest of us, we may feel like, okay, so I maybe feel I should change my job, but as you said, comfort and whatever it is. But when it comes from this deeper place, the decision, the insight, the inspiration, like your whole system is already on it.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to act on it because deep inside you know. So yeah, so that's why I say it is productive, and it is, you can really have, like, because people think that it's only like, oh, this spiritual, so I will only connect to my soul and like whatever. Maybe, but also it can be very practical, very practical.
It's
when
like a
you
whole
have
toolbox that you're not
Yeah.
accessing, that you're not leveraging. Like you have all of this there.
Yeah,
You're
every
just
single
not using
night. And I say, come on, it's every night is there for you. So that's why I'm so passionate about it.
I
And
love it.
that's why I really want everyone to access it, because once you get it, like you don't need anyone to tell you what to do. You don't need, like, you can consult, you can ask, someone can hold your hand for a little bit, but like it's there for you. Like your intuition is there for you. So once you connect to it, it's always there for you, and you have access to it. So why not use it? Such a waste.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And before we wrap up, I always ask my guests to share an exercise or a tip. I feel like there's a lot of different tips and things that we've already covered here, but is there something that you can share with our listeners that can help them get started with this?
Yes. So this is something that we already spoke about and touched on. It's that if you would like to see what is out there in your dream world, but you don't feel like now investing too much time into writing your dreams, maybe you don't have time, maybe you don't feel like doing it. The easiest thing that you can do is when you wake up, just if you remember anything from your dream, any snippet, any, scenario, any character, just try to pinpoint on the emotion. What is that you felt in the dream? And what is that you're feeling while you're awake? Because that only this thing, only maybe feeling the emotion and giving sometimes also a title to a dream. So instead of writing the whole dream down, like, oh, maybe it will take you 20 minutes to write it. But maybe if you're like, okay, I dreamt of this. Okay, so title will be like flying to Africa, let's say. This in itself, flying in Africa and the emotion excited, it already can give you some indication about something that is going on for you. So I would say that this is very simple way, and it can be so surprising. It's like this one sentence, this one feeling. And you can ask yourself, oh, where I feel excited in my life? Is there something exciting that is happening or that is about to happen that I'm feeling really excited about? And so on and so on. So this tiny thing can really spark some curiosity and also open this door and open the connection, especially if you don't remember your dreams a lot. If you remember maybe snippets, or if you remember once in a blue moon, because it's like sending a signal that you are open to connect to the dream world, and amazing,
I love that.
things can
I'm
come
gonna
out
start
of
doing
it.
that with my kids. My kids share me like their dreams. And
Oh,
last night,
that's
my 4-year-old. He's like, I had a bad dream, mommy, and he like straight away wants to tell me because I always ask. It's like a robot that tore down our house, and I was just like, oh no. But if they give a title and the emotion, then that will help me also understand what's going on for them and why they're having a bad dream. So I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also kids dream, it's definitely another episode, but it's amazing that you are giving space. Like, if I can just say one sentence about it, it's like giving space for your children to share the dream and not diminish it as it's irrelevant. It's so important.
Yeah. Yay. Thank you. I love that. All right. Amazing. Joanna, you're amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your time with us today as well. And a big thank you to everyone listening in. Hope you found our conversation as inspiring and enlightening as I did. You can find Joanna's links in the descriptions. Joanna, where do you usually hang out? Facebook, Instagram, website? Like, where can people find you mainly?
Facebook and Instagram. Great.
Facebook and Instagram. Awesome. Okay, so you'll find the links in the description here. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite platform. Your support really helps me reach more people and make a bigger impact. We'd also love to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from today? Let us know.
Or a dream.
Or a dream. Yes. Awesome. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay tuned for more episodes coming your way. Joanna, thank you again. Lots of love,
Very
everyone.
formally.
And that's a wrap. So yay, thank you for listening all the way through. I'm going to assume that means you liked it. So if you haven't yet, please go and hit the like and subscribe buttons. And don't forget to share this with someone who is into healing. And come and say hi on our socials. We really, really would love to connect with you. The link's in the description below. And I'll catch you on the next episode.